Hi guys, this video is entitled RTFM, which stands for Read the Manual. You can fill in the missing letter yourself. And this is in response to several comments at my latest Let's Play, which was essentially, you really do need to read the manual before you try these mods out. And various variations of that. Some people saying, you know, you should read all the mods. We look to you for knowledge. You should know these better than us. All the way to casual ones where it's like, well, you should probably really know stuff like Skyrim and Frostfall because they're fairly serious. So please read the manual before you play. And someone even semi-jokingly pointing out, you know, you tell us to read the manual, so maybe you should. Which is true and not all at the same time. So this video is going to be me just babbling on about this. It's not got any real point. I just want you guys to, it's a into the mind of Gopher video, really. I want to explain to you why it is I do the things I do, the way I do them, and why you should not do the same. You know what? Looking at this list, this is the very first video I ever made for YouTube. Very first one. Advanced Recon Gear. Fallout 3 mod. My first ever mod. Wow. God, that takes me back. But I was looking at this page, actually, and I noticed one video I'd forgotten all about. Deus Ex 3 Pacifist, saving Pilot Malik. I was convinced you could save Pilot Malik on Pacifist. So you could save her without actually killing anyone. And I recorded it. And now I think about it. Technically, that's my first Let's Play, isn't it? What's the definition of a Let's Play? Because it wasn't a tutorial. It was not a, you know, a how-to video or anything like that, or a montage. It was actually me playing. Granted, it was me playing only for 3 minutes and 30 seconds, but there you go. So yeah, wow, nostalgia. So why am I looking at my early videos? And there is a reason for it. And it's, when I look at the first 2 videos I ever made after this one was just basically showing my mod, but the next 2 were videos showing people how to install and how to troubleshoot. Now this should not have been necessary because if I look, this is the New Vegas version of the thermal night vision. Actually, let's have a look at the. Where is my advanced recon? Now the original was the stealth armor actually, but I believe this one's a lot more interesting to look at. Let's have a look. Actually, let's have a look at the stealth armor. This was the first ever mod, but it used to contain the thermal night vision. And yeah, we'll stick with the thermal night vision. It's got a slightly more intimidating page. So you know, if people had read everything that was on here and had gone along to the, oh, I see, yeah, user manual and an installation guide, and they'd done this, there would be no need for me to make those videos, right? So why did I make them? Right. The reason I made them is because nobody ever reads the manual. It's a basic truism. I say nobody. I'm lying, obviously. I'm exaggerating. Maybe 1 in 10 people actually does. But the vast majority of people come along here and they go, ooh, that looks cool. Ooh, night vision, thermal vision. Wow, awesome. I like that. That's good. And they got the images next. And they go here and they go, oh my God, why does it take so long to load a picture? And they go, wow, stealth field, this is awesome. I'm getting this. And then they go to the file section, download the manager, hit activate, install, go play. We all know that's what they do. Maybe a few of them will look down a little bit further and, you know, if the description, maybe they'll get about there. You know, if we're really lucky, all the way down here. But it's sort of like, you know, you skim read. And that's what I do. I'd come along and I'd read this and I'd skim read it very, very quickly. I'd probably focus on, oh, how to install. Yada, yada, yada. Oh, there's a user manual. I'll just download it and install. You know, conflicts. Okay. You know, maybe. So things like that you might read. But you don't read them super carefully. And you go along to the installation guide and, you know, you see this mod has had almost 24,000 unique downloads, which is not bad actually, because this was one of my late mods for Fallout 3. And the user manual, 1,270. So, big difference. 1 in 20 people downloaded the manual. 1 in 20. Just gives you an idea of how many people read the manual. So, is this wrong? Should I shout at them? Well, no. See, read the manual is something that mod authors like to shout at everyone, but they usually shout it after someone has just asked a mind-numbingly silly question, or a question that's been answered 5,000 times. And it's frustrating, and I can tell you it is frustrating as a mod author to answer the same question over and over again, but, you know, hey. And so they will, if you install a mod and you try it out and suddenly you think, well, where is it? Where is it? That is the moment you read the manual. At least that should be the moment you read it. That's the moment I read it. The second I've installed it, I think I've got the hang of it. Oh yeah, brilliant. I install it and it's not quite as easy as I thought. Which, here's the thing. Here's what I say. If you have to come back and download that manual, probably I did something wrong. So I'm actually glad that it's only 1 in 20. It means that the 19 out of 20 people who downloaded with Manager, in fact, probably many of the people who downloaded the user manual as well, never opened it, but they've installed it and figured out without much help from the manual, which means that I obviously managed to do an installation program that was self-explanatory and everything you saw in game made sense, and just, you know, you could figure it out, you could work it out. So that this means I did a good job in making it user-friendly. So, you know, if people don't read the manual and everything works, great. Every now and again, someone's going to have a question. Maybe they want to know where on earth to find it because they want to cheat. I don't want to find it normally. I've put a location. If I get a comment saying, where can I find this? It's slightly annoying because I've put a file in, I've written it down, read the manual. But it is generally, as a rule, do not post a comment. Do not post a comment unless you have read everything on the front page, probably the README, possibly checked the file section in case there's a manual or something else. And I would also recommend going through at least the first page of comments and to specifically look for things that the mod author has said, because he's possibly answering questions, and if the question is something you're about to ask, there may be an answer already. So don't ask something that's already been asked. That's why read the manual is important. That's when it is important as well. And this is true no matter which game you're playing. If you take a look at Dynavision, for example, this is a lot of information about what it does, what is a subject, why is it similar to a camera, and so on. Little bits of installation details, important things that you put in. Look at this. Important. Make sure you do this. How many times do you think I still had to answer that question? Because it doesn't matter. People are going to miss it. Hence the reason, video. This is why I made these videos. I just know that people, and it's not, I know what's coming now, right down below. People are going, it's because people are too lazy to read the manual. They should learn to read. And you're wrong, because it's not about learning to read, and it's not about being lazy or not lazy. It's about how people learn. It's one of these. Here's the thing. I love to read. I adore reading. I devour books. I love fiction. I love fact. I love biographies, history, politics. You name it. I love to read. I could devour most books. I can find a variety of subjects and stories fascinating. And yet I can sit down with a book on how to write a computer program, and I am a developer. I am a programmer, and I can sit down with a book on how to write a computer program, and my brain shuts down. If I want to learn a new computer language, what I do is I download the compiler, I Google a Hello World tutorial, I follow that, 10 minutes later I have Hello World popping up, and I then start trying other things, and as I find problems, I then go and Google or read, if I've got a reference book, or go to the Java docs, if it's Java, whatever, I then look for a solution to my problem. I do not try to learn everything in advance. This is one of the reasons I found, my first degree was actually computer science, and to me, learning computers that way was appallingly difficult. I really found it very, very hard. Stick me down with a computer, leave me alone. I'd learn a million times faster that way. And videos are the next best thing, because they're kind of like someone's doing it for you, and you can project into the video. So when you watch a video of me installing something or me changing some settings or using the mod, you're picturing yourself doing it in a way, but with my voice in your head. And this visual image, it makes it very real, and it lets your brain very quickly visualize yourself doing it, and it's a powerful tool. And so this is why I started making the videos. I mean, honestly, my video channel is a complete accident. These early videos, you go back and listen to Modding Fallout New Vegas Part 1, User Interface, where I covered how to install user interface mods. I spoke very quietly because A, I hate the sound of my own voice. Yes, I do. And whenever I listen to these videos, I go, good grief, I don't sound like that, do I? And I didn't want people to be put off by the annoying sound of my voice. But I definitely knew something had to be done. That people were just having so much trouble installing. In the first one was user interface mods, because they were, and it was such a shame because they transformed that game. And very, very quickly, without any subscribers, the video got linked to so many places. So many people were going, oh God, you've got to check this one out. If you want to know how to do that, check this out. And so on. And that's what started it. It was this, people had this need to watch someone doing it because it's so much easier to figure out. And so, we can scream, read the manual at each other till doomsday, but we have to acknowledge that generally that is not how people work. And we just have to ask them very nicely, and we have to say, look, we know that's not how you work. And we know you might have some questions that you couldn't figure out yourself, but before you ask, please read the manual. We know you hate it, but if you've got a question, read the manual first in case we've already answered it, because there's only so many times we can type the same sentence without going completely mental. So obviously that's not going to make a very easy an acronym to put on a t-shirt, obviously. RTFM works so much better. So there you go. So back to me and people demanding that I read the manual. Now I got sort of bullied into saying, fine, I won't do any more Let's Plays until I read the manual. And I think I'm probably going to go back on that promise, because I know some people are saying you don't have to read every mod, but definitely mods like Frostfall, Skyrim and so on. But when you look at the manual for this, it's enormous. I mean, major kudos to Chesco. There is absolutely nothing he didn't cover. And it's brilliantly written. It really is. Whenever I have a question, I come here and I find the answer very quickly. But notice what I said. Whenever I've got a question, I come back and I find it here. And that's how I work. I install the mod. I probably read up the installation instructions, and then I boot it up and I play. And then when I find, exposure, now I remember that, I read something about that. That was about cold, don't go in the water, you got to get warm again, try not to be wet, clothes can help. I remember some things I read, but I don't remember everything. And then I come back and I go, right, okay, exposure, decreasing exposure. And then I might, oh, wow, let's read this. Now it means something to me. Now I've got a character who suddenly had a message saying, you are suffering from minor exposure or something, whatever. That's when I suddenly go, ooh, what does that mean? And then I go off and I find out. So I've got a question. So I look at the manual. And I think that's what most people actually do. Oh, look at a special note to vampires and werewolves. That's going to be useful for me soon. Vampire not harmed by hypothermia swimming off frigid water, which is possibly true, right? Werewolves. Okay, didn't know that. Didn't see how it learned something new. Apparently transforming, get 20 exposure points. So when I'm playing my Let's Play, you're going to see me come across things that I don't know, and you're going to know them, and you're going to think, oh God, you should know this, you should have read the manual. And maybe you're the 1 in 100 people who did in fact read that first. But I suspect some of you that are telling me to read the manual do exactly what I did. You played, you found something, and you thought, oh, one sec. And you press the escape button, and you went to your tablet or your other computer, or alt-tabbed if you can get away with that, and you looked it up. I mean, I'll bet every one of you's done that. And that's how I work. Now, obviously, for me, it's a little harder because if I'm recording whilst I'm doing this, it's a little bit immersion breaking for me to, wander off and, excuse me, I'll just sit there in the middle of a game, Skyping one of the mod authors for a bit of information, probably a little bit of an immersion thing. It could be interesting, actually. Sending messages to Chesko whilst playing and talking to you guys could be kind of odd. It's definitely going to take you out of the story, so... But here's the thing, and I want you guys to remember when I started my Let's Plays what I said about it. I didn't plan on doing a Let's Play seriously. People were just demanding it almost. It was like, you should do it, you should do it. And I said, fine, I'm going to do another playthrough soon anyway. And I'm testing a load of mods out that I want to test for the Mod Sanctuary. And I can record it and see if you guys watch it. If you don't, you don't. It's, I'm basically going to be exploring, and you can watch me trying out mods for the first time ever and see how I test mods out and see me testing my own mods. And that was what the idea was. And it still is. Mostly. I mean, I do realise that my Let's Plays have taken on a life of their own. And here's the thing. I got to thank you guys for making me do it, because I have never been quite so into the game, the story and the character as I have been doing my Let's Plays. I mean, Steve definitely got, really into the character. And Richard already, actually, Richard for me is shaping up to be a very enjoyable character, actually. And then there's Will, I think Will's still got to find his place in my heart. He's still got some growing to do. In many ways, Richard's almost grown up in, I think episode 11 was Richard growing up. Will's still a bit of a kid. He's still a bit naive and young and so on. So, and I've got to thank you guys for this, though, because playing these games with an audience and talking as if I was there, rather than just thinking as if I was there, and it slows the pace you play. And it does. It slows you down. You talk to the NPCs rather than just speed reading the sentences, because of course I can read a sentence instantly. I can look at a dialogue sentence as it pops up and skip to the next line without ever listening to the NPC. But I wouldn't do that when I'm doing a Let's Play. It ruins it, doesn't it? But I'm finding I enjoy it so much more to do that. So, there are very few games that do that without an audience. I did that for Mass Effect. I never ever interrupted Mass Effect. And Dragon Age actually. But in all the Elder Scroll games, I would read the dialogue and quickly through. So, I am enjoying the Let's Play for that, and I do realise they've gone on to be a bit more than originally planned. But still, at the core, these are the way I test mods for my other videos, for my own enjoyment, and for, testing my own mods. And I know I promised I'd start reading the readmes, but I gotta tell you, I don't think I'm going to enjoy it. I don't think I'm going to keep that level of excitement I do when you're going to miss it. I'm going to be starting up another character and trying out Frostfall and learning everything there is to learn about Frostfall, and you're not going to be there. You won't be along for the journey. You'll just see me playing Richard once I know Frostfall. And I think it's going to lose some of the magic. So for those of you that I did say, I'll do it, I think I was just saying that mostly to get people to, back off, because it was a busy day. And honestly, when I've come home and I've tried to get on with it, I find my will to play disappearing. And that, of course, is a bad thing. So I do hope you forgive me, and I hope you don't hold it against me that I've gone back on my word. I honestly think it would be to the detriment of the Let's Plays. And it would mean there were less of them, that's for sure. It really would. But, and this I want to make very, very clear. I don't mind you guys giving me that sort of criticism, the constructive criticism. So, if there's something you don't like, feel free, you can tell me, yeah? And guys, don't abuse them if they do that. Don't say, oh, how dare you, don't watch this if you don't like it, because it's fine. Constructive criticism, I did take it, I did listen to it, I did think about it, and I even tried it. But honestly, I could tell instantly that it wasn't me. So, you know, again, thanks for the criticism, but I'm going to carry on doing it my way and inducing massive amounts of face palming in the rest of you. So, I do apologise for the random babbly nature of this video, but I just would like to end by reiterating, you should read the manual. This is one of those cases where you should do as I say, not as I do. I know you're not going to, but when you don't, for God's sake, please read the manual before you ask questions, because if you don't, mod authors are going to be hunting me down and blaming me, because I'm not giving you permission to not read the manual just because I don't. All right, read the manual. I'm going to get in so much trouble for this, aren't I?